picture this. You've just pulled off the most insane escape ever. We're talking parting the ocean levels of epic. But now, you're stranded in the wilderness. No food, no water, and an entire nation looking at you like, what now? That's exactly where the Israelites are in today's episode. And trust me, their survival journey makes hardcore mode look easy. But before we jump in, what is this? Welcome to BibleCraft, where we take legendary Bible stories and bring them to life Minecraft style. It's part storytelling, part survival challenge, and all about finding faith in the grind. And while we dig into today's story, I'm also laying the foundation for a massive storage room, an AFK farm hideout. Think secret entrances, redstone-powered item sorting, and all kinds of epic upgrades coming in future episodes. Now let's get back to this episode, because the Israelites are about to learn the hard way that freedom isn't just about escaping, it's about trusting the journey. So the Israelites have just escaped Egypt. They saw the plagues, the Red Sea split in half, and God wipe out Pharaoh's army. You'd think they'd be riding high on faith, right? Nope, they're barely 1 month into the journey, and the grumbling starts. They're hungry, they're tired, and instead of trusting that God has a plan, they start complaining. If only we had died in Egypt. At least we had food, but you brought us out here just to starve. Pause right there. How quickly do we forget what God has already done? The Israelites just watched him split an entire sea, but now they're doubting if he can handle their next meal. But here's what's amazing. God doesn't punish them for complaining. Instead, he provides, but in a way that tests their faith. That evening, quail cover the camp. Tons of birds just waiting to be cooked up. Meat delivered straight to their tents. And the next morning, as the dew lifts, something strange is left on the ground. It's small, white, flaky, kind of like frost. The Israelites look at it and go, "What is this?" Which, by the way, is literally what manna means. What is it? Moses tells them, "This is the bread God is giving you. Gather only what you need for today, no more, no less." So the people start gathering. Some collect a lot, some collect a little. But when they measure it, everyone has just the right amount. Here's where the test kicks in. No stockpiling. God says don't hoard it overnight. Every morning new manna will be there, but some people don't listen. They gather extra, thinking they can store it up just in case. By morning, it's rotten and full of worms. Why? Because this wasn't just about food, this was about faith. God wasn't just feeding them, he was retraining their hearts. See, for 400 years, they had lived as slaves in Egypt, depending on Pharaoh for survival. Now God was teaching them to depend on him instead. There's another twist to the test. On the 6th day, they had to gather double. Why? Because the 7th day was a Sabbath, a day of rest. God tells them, on the 6th day, gather twice as much because there won't be any manna on the Sabbath. And this time when they keep it overnight, it doesn't rot. God was showing them, I will always provide, but on my terms, not yours. Rest is important. They weren't just working machines. They were people who needed time to worship, trust, and recharge. But, of course, some people go out on the Sabbath anyway to look for manna. And guess what? There's nothing there. Moses calls them out and God makes it clear. This isn't just about food, this is about trust. So the Israelites are on the move again, travelling through the desert of Rephidim. And guess what? They run out of water. Now, in Minecraft survival, if your hunger bar gets low, you can eat. But in real life, and especially in the blazing hot desert, no water equals game over. And just like before, instead of trusting that God will provide, the complaints start rolling in. Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Just to kill us, our children, and our livestock with thirst. This time, the anger is real. The people are furious at Moses, and he knows things are getting dangerous. He cries out to God, "What am I supposed to do with these people? They're about to stone me." That's serious desperation. Moses isn't just frustrated, he's afraid for his life. But God, as always, has a plan. He tells Moses, "Take your staff, the same one you used to part the Red Sea, and go to the rock at Horeb. Strike it, and water will come out for the people to drink." Moses does it. He strikes the rock, and boom, fresh water comes gushing out, enough to satisfy an entire nation. Now pause for a second, think about that. A rock, in the middle of the desert, gushing enough water for thousands of people. That's not just a miracle, that's God proving a point. God can provide from places you'd never expect. And what's even crazier, this rock is a foreshadowing of Jesus. In 1 Corinthians 10:4, Paul says this rock was a symbol of Christ. Just like Moses struck the rock, Jesus was struck, crucified, to bring us living water. The Israelites weren't just learning to trust God for water, they were being given a glimpse of something way bigger. Now, just as they solve one problem, another one shows up. The Israelites are suddenly attacked by the Amalekites, a savage enemy that preys on the weak, attacking the stragglers at the back of the camp. Deuteronomy 25:17-18. For the first time, the Israelites are in an actual war. But here's the thing, the battle isn't won with swords. Moses tells Joshua, his right-hand warrior, to gather an army and fight, but meanwhile Moses does something unusual. He climbs a hill with his staff in hand. And something crazy happens. As long as Moses holds up his staff, Israel starts winning. But whenever he gets tired and lowers his arms, the Amalekites start pushing back. Moses realizes something. This battle isn't about strength or skill. It's about God's power. But let's be real. Holding your arms up for hours is exhausting. Moses starts to weaken. His arms shake. He can't do it alone. That's when Aaron and Hur step in. They bring a rock for Moses to sit on. They stand on either side of him. They hold up his arms. And just like that, the battle turns. Joshua and the Israelite army wipe out Amalek. And after the victory, God tells Moses, "Write this down. Amalek will be erased from history." Moses builds an altar and names it Yahweh Nissi, which means, "The Lord is my banner." And that's it for today's episode. God provides, even when we doubt. The Israelites learn to trust him daily. And honestly, that's something we all need to work on. Now, before you go, I need your help. Since I'm building this massive storage room, an AFK farm hideout, drop a comment with your best ideas. Secret entrances, redstone tricks, cool design features, whatever you've got. I'll be checking the comments and might even use your idea in a future episode. And of course, if you're enjoying BibleCraft, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Because trust me, we're just getting started. See you in the next one, disciples. Keep crafting and keep the faith.